Hey, what's up everybody? It's Nick Chino from VigilanteDetective.com and welcome to my latest rock album review for the 8th studio album from British rockers Muse. It's called Simulation Theory. Simulation Theory is the follow-up to 2015's Drones. You know, when it comes to big rock bands on the planet Earth, it doesn't really get any bigger than Muse. You know, they started out as, just like a British rock band that broke through to the mainstream more than a lot of other British rock bands have done in the past. So these guys are absolutely one of the biggest mainstream rock bands on the planet, and I've always thought they were kind of like a heavier Radiohead, okay? Like, Matt Bellamy has a very similar kind of voice to Tom York, and I always thought that Muse sounds like Radiohead if Radiohead had stayed a rock band. When it comes to my fandom of Muse, I'm a moderate fan. I enjoy their singles, but not really their albums as much, although I do enjoy a few of their albums quite a bit, like, Absolution, Black Holes and Revelations, The Resistance, Second Law. They have a lot of really good albums. Drones was great as well, with the song Reapers on there. I absolutely love that song. That's one of their best kind of rock songs that they've ever released. And I actually saw Muse back in 2013 at the ACC in Toronto, along with Biffy Clyro. Now, I'm a bigger Biffy Clyro fan than I am a Muse fan, so I actually went to that show to see Biffy open up more than I went to see Muse. But I was actually very surprised and very kind of excited by their stage show and their live sound. They absolutely put on one of the best rock shows that you can see right now. Now, Muse has been riding the wave of Simulation Theory for a while, all the way back in 2017 when they released the single Dig Down. And from the get-go, you can tell that this is definitely a more synth-leaning album, a more electronic album than a rock album, and I'm not sure if I dig that 100%. Even though this album is a little bit more electronic, it obviously still captures Muse kind of operatic rock sound. When it comes to the songs that I liked on this album, the highlights for me included Algorithm, which is kind of like an opening track that sets the tone for this record. It's just full of electronic beats, it's full of synths, and it kind of sets the tone for this kind of overall electronic leading album. The Dark Side, one of the singles from this record, is a solid song, but still not as memorable as some of their past singles, and I think that might be a general theme running throughout all of Simulation Theory. It sounds like Muse, but they've released better Muse songs in the past. Pressure is a great single with a great groove. They had an awesome video for that featuring actor Terry Crews, which you can check out right now at VigilanteDetective.com. Something Human, which is a decent ballad, had some nice vocals from Matt Bellamy on that one. Thought Contagion, which I think might be the best song on this record. It's kind of like vintage Muse. It has that electronic element, but it still has a little bit more of that rock sound that is missing from the rest of these tracks, so I very much enjoy Thought Contagion. One of my favorite songs on this record was Get Up and Fight. I found that to be one of the most energetic, passionate songs on the record. It had a great chorus, maybe not really political leaning, but it had a positive message, which is something that Muse is always kind of pushing forward in their songs. And then after that, I'd have to say the rest of the tracks on this album were kind of lowlights for me. Yeah, Propaganda was like a bad techno song. It sounded like a bad cover of Prince. I did not enjoy that song at all. Propaganda might be the worst song on the album. Break It To Me, not a very good song as well. Blockades, that was kind of a run-of-the-mill Muse song that sounds like every other Muse song that you've ever heard. Dig Down, which like I said is one of the first singles from this record, just sounds like a Madness ripoff. Madness is a much better song than Dig Down, and it sounds like Muse was trying to recapture some of the magic on that song. And then the last song in this album, called The Void, is just one of the most boring closing songs I've ever heard. I think the thing with me and Muse is that Matt Bellamy, although he's a fantastic writer and Muse is a fantastic band, I have to say that in most of my reviews, is that I agree that the band is talented. I agree that they are extremely good at what they do. But the thing with Matt Bellamy and his melodies and his writing is that he tends to just resort to the same kind of melodies and vocal styles that he does on every album. It's just, that very operatic thing that he does on every album, and I wish on their 8th studio album that Muse would be able to change things up just a little bit. Even though I didn't dig the album as much, though, I really enjoy Muse's presentation and their aesthetic. They have that kind of sci-fi meets rock aesthetic in their videos and their music, and their album cover. I really love the album cover for Simulation Theory, so I really like how they're able to manage two things that I love, sci-fi and rock and roll, into one little package. And to me the album was a little bit too electronic. There are some fun audio treats in there, things that you're really going to enjoy listening to on your headphones, but I wish that the album and the band balanced their rock side a little bit more with their electronic side. I do enjoy synths and kind of electronic drum beats as much as the next guy, but I just wanted to hear something a little bit more organic. I'd have to say that the songwriting on Simulation Theory isn't as strong as other Muse albums, and I think the thing with Muse that I've noticed as a kind of a more casual, moderate Muse fan is that they sound so Muse, okay? That their sound is so distinctive that it's very hard for them to break out of that sound, and I really don't know what the band can do going forward to kind of change things up and make people second guess what Muse's sound could be. Overall, on Simulation Theory, it sounds like the band has kind of softened their edge a little bit. It's kind of disappointing. There's too much synth, not enough guitars. The album plods along a little bit too much. It's not a long album. It's only about 11 or 12 tracks, but it felt like a long listen for me. It proves why I don't love Muse, okay? I like Muse, but I don't love Muse, and I think that just comes down to the fact that when I listen to the Muse album, it just sounds too much the same for me. I do enjoy selected tracks from each of their albums, but this just proves why I look at Muse as more of like a singles band for me than an album band. Simulation Theory is also available in a deluxe edition that features some remixes and live tracks and some acoustic versions. I didn't really get too deep into the deluxe version because I don't think any different kind of versions of these songs are going to make me like the songs or the album any more than I do. Overall, I'm going to give Simulation Theory from Muse a 5 out of 10. I know Muse fans on the channel are going to kill me for this one. It's going to be an interesting comment section, but I don't think that this album was as strong songwriting-wise as past Muse albums. You know, when you think back to Black Holes and Revelations, and you think back to The Second Law and Resistance, songs like Uprising, Timer's Running Out, and Madness, and Panic Station. Like, these are some of Muse's best songs, and I don't think anything on Simulation Theory lives up to Muse's past material. I found it a little bit disappointing, so I'm going to give the new Muse album Simulation Theory a 5 out of 10. Alright guys, that is my review of the new Muse album Simulation Theory. Let me know what you thought of the album in the comments below. Make sure to give me a like on this channel. Make sure to share this video with your fellow rock fans, your fellow Muse fans, and make sure to subscribe to the channel here on Rock Album Review. You can get pop culture, music, and movie news over at vigilantedetective.com, and follow me on Twitter at TheWalkingNick, at VDetective, and we'll see you guys in the next Rock Album Review.